Welcome to Overwhelmed to Overcomer podcast with coach, encourager, and strategist Anna McLaughlin. If you're a Christian woman who has big dreams rooted in an even bigger God, but most days those dreams feel completely out of reach, trust me, I get it. As a homeschooling mama of four, entrepreneur, investor, and all around wearer of many hats, I am right there with you. And yet, the Lord invites us to live out our God given purpose now in the midst of the madness. So, let's explore together how we can know our calling and walk in it today with clarity, with courage, with each other. It's time for you to live the life you love and love the life you live. Let's do this thing. Hello and welcome to Overwhelmed to Overcomer. I'm so excited to connect you today with Jen Robb. Jen, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so we're going to be diving into an important topic. We're really going to be talking about what do we do when we're navigating life with a child who's got some hard times? How do we navigate that well? And Jen is an expert on the topic. Jen, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I've been married for 25 years to my college sweetheart. We have three big kids now. One's 20, one's 19, and one's 17. I've been in medicine for 25 years, and I'm now most recent the author of Warrior Mom Rising, which part memoir, part self-help really for moms, focusing on my daughter's mental health struggles, but looking at it from my perspective as the mother. And then trying to really help moms formulate a battle plan to help them learn to overcome and thrive as well.
Mm. Oh, that's so important. When we first connected, it really touched me because I was a child with mental health struggles and I watched the stress and the toll that it took on my mother, just not knowing what to do. And as I've been raising kids of my own, I think one of the first questions that come to my mind is like, how do we how do we know that we're in a place that's more than just I had a bad day, didn't get enough sleep, ate too much candy. Like what do we need to be looking for? Because I know for me that's been one of my questions is when do we need something that's a little bit more than just a good night's sleep?
And I think that that's the tricky thing, right? Because I remember even struggling with watching Chloe in the beginning, thinking she's just being a normal teen, right? Because Chloe was about 12 to 13 when she started having different issues. But the signs become a little more dramatic, if you will, right? Like every teen or tween even is going to have their own bad days. They're moody, especially with young girls, right? Who are hormonal and all
Mhm.
of those things, right? But when you talk about they're retreating, like putting down things that they normally absolutely 100% love, and they just don't want any part of it. They
Mm.
want to go sit in a dark room with the lights off for hours upon hours a day, right? They're very withdrawn, even more moody than normal, right? And I think that what's important as a mom, you know your teen or your child, right? And we really have to rely on that mom instinct to go, hmm, this feels like more to me. Because everybody's different. There's not like one classic sign that you can see, right? Your child's different than mine, but watching your child and knowing their patterns of behavior, and then all of a sudden things are dramatically shifting, like we're falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
That's when we just have to know we have to step in and we have to advocate for them and become their voice when because they don't even know, right? Their little brains are so jumbled with everything else that they're feeling that we have to just kind of step in and say, "Listen, and know you're having a hard time. I can see it. I can feel it.
Mhm.
What do you need from me?"
Mm. And then so talk to me about that because I think about, as I'm just starting to have a teen myself, the idea of that conversation where they don't know themselves how they're doing. When we open that door, what have you noticed among the people that you've connected with and talked to over the years? Like, I can't imagine a child coming back to me and saying, "Actually, mother, here are the various issues that I have." Like, what's next? What does that look like as you're navigating this dialogue of I'm concerned?
You know, for Chloe, she she just had very subtle like signs, right? Hers was really retreating and giving up and not wanting to be active and cheer.
Yeah.
Now, there were many parts of her struggle that she didn't tell us until way later, right? But you could start to see the anxiety building, right? The nervousness of her hands, the failing, becoming lower grades in school. There are telltale signs that you can see that are very different. Now, was she an open book? Absolutely not, because they want to be private. And of course, they're becoming that where they're fighting for their own individuality too and their own independence. And so she didn't want to tell me everything, but she did say, yes, I'm having a hard time. And I think sometimes it's important for moms that we want to know everything right now so that we can fix it. But sometimes it's just saying, I'm here. I feel that you're having a really hard time. And if you're, and it's okay. You don't have to tell me all of the details, but know that I'm here. And I think sometimes just offering that extra little bit of I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. It doesn't matter what you say or do. I love you unconditionally. They just need that reassurance that no matter what happens and how they're feeling, that we're not going to change our minds.
Mm.
Because you think about like with their friends. I mean, I watched Chloe and one of her friends quit being her friends
Yeah.
when she started struggling,
Yeah.
right? And at that age, everything revolves around their friends and what their friends think and what everybody, and now with social media, I mean, goodness gracious, right? Like we protected her from that world, right? We didn't let her have those things. But there are many teens that have access to social media and they're feeling those added pressures of, well, I mean, she doesn't like me, she's talking about me, all of those things. And they're feeling very isolated, sometimes from their friends. And I use friends loosely.
Mhm.
But for us as mamas, they have to know and we have to reassure them that we're here and we're not going nowhere. No matter
Yes.
how disappointed or how hurt or whatever, I'm still going to be standing in your corner.
Mm. Jen, talk to me. What, like, because I hear you saying that, and I think about how scary that must have been to see her struggling, right? Like, what does it look like? And because when I hear you talking, I think about, the mom that's listening where there is a mental health struggle. Also, the mom who's listening who has a child with a physical challenge or like ADD or anything else that's kind of disruptive, right? It's disruptive in the home. And I think about how scary that feels and our own health challenges with one of our kiddos. So, how have you found the grace, or what would you say to a mom who needs to find the grace to be as patient and present as what you're describing when it feels really scary?
You know, Chloe, her struggles really started with anxiety and depression. Um, so hers was all about mental health and ultimately ended up branching into like self-harm where she was cutting. And it is very, very scary in that moment
Mhm.
because you don't know how to help them. They can't really express to you how they're feeling and all of the things that are really going on in their minds. But as a mama, especially of one that's of Christian faith, I had to remind myself repeatedly that God extended grace to me all the time, right? That nothing I did was perfect, and there were times that I upset him or disappointed him or I hurt him. Never being intentional in that. And then you have to look at it like our kids are not intending to hurt us in this moment. They're
Yeah.
struggling, right? And it's just like with any other relationship. The ones that you love the most are the ones that take the brunt of your
Mm.
anxiety, your stress, your hurt, your disappointment, right? Those are the
Yeah.
ones that take the brunt of it,
And I think I just like, as you're saying that, I'm like, I think we all just need to pause for a moment and give our husbands a kiss and say thank you. Because
right?
boy, do I know that.
Right. But that's exactly how we are. And our kids are no different. Our kids are no different. And many, many, many times the mama is the primary caregiver, the primary one that's interacting with them on a, more often on a daily basis. We're with them more often than not. And you just have to understand that you have to extend grace just as everyone extends grace to you when you're having a bad day.
Mhm. Okay. So, one of the things I really loved as we were talking before this conversation was just your commitment to supporting the moms. So, I know I can't pour from an empty cup, and man, do I try. What have you learned, and what are the tools and strategies that you recommend for moms who are really in the trenches and really having to stand on those front lines for their kids?
The first thing I would say is I've been there, right? It is a very sad and lonely place to be. When you feel like your child is beyond help in some places and feeling helpless as a mom, I think is one of the most lowest points that you can be, right? Because we're caregivers. We like to have it all and take care of everybody. But what I realized, and I'll tell you, the most poignant time of this when I realized that I could no longer just rely on my own strength to protect Chloe was when we had come home. It was April 4th of 23. That was the day that she decided to break into a liquor cabinet that had two locks on it. And my two boys come home from school and they found her unresponsive, face down in a pillow in a pool of vomit. No idea what had happened to her. They called 911. I'm scrambling to come from the clinic and we get her to the hospital. She finally is aroused. And after they do all their lab tests and everything, and I'm looking at my child who is screaming, who is sobbing, who is covered in vomit from her
Mm,
head. I mean, it's just all over her.
mm,
And the doctor comes in and he says to me, her alcohol level is 4 times the lethal limit. Now, you can't see Chloe, but she's 5 foot tall, 100 pounds, competitive cheerleader. 4 times the lethal.
mm.
And as a mama, that's a gut punch.
Oh, I feel it just hearing you say it.
Because there is no, and he looked at me and he said, there is no reason that she should be alive.
Mm,
And you think about all of the things that were playing against her, right? Not only was her alcohol level 4 times the lethal limit, she was face down in a pillow,
mm.
laying in vomit. There's no reason except that God has a plan for her. But when we came home from the hospital that night, she was mentally, emotionally, physically exhausted from everything. She was so weak that she couldn't even shower herself to get the vomit out of her hair.
Mm.
I had to go in there and shower her and bathe her. Here it is, my 15-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
And in that moment, when she looked at me and said, Mama, I'm sorry, and I love you, all you can say is, baby girl, I love you too. And we're going to get through this. But in that moment, I knew that I couldn't do it alone, that all of the control that I was trying to exhibit over her. So trying to exert all that control, right? I was trying to keep her alive. I was trying to make sure she wasn't left unsupervised for this amount of time. And all the, liquor was like all of the things that we do as mamas to control their days.
Yes.
But in that moment, when she looked at me with those eyes, I could hear God say, Jen, you can't do it by yourself anymore.
Yeah.
You have to surrender her to me. And I'm trying not to cry because I'm telling you right now, as a mama, especially one that's highly OCD and a control freak,
Yeah.
that is hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what
Or
I heard God saying repeatedly is, Jen, surrender her to me and I will take care of her. As much as you love her, I love her more.
yeah.
And that is hard. But if you can surrender them and surrender the control and realize that there are things that are way outside of what you can do, that is where it becomes a game changer. And praying for them and for God to help them. And I think sometimes, especially in today's society, I feel like we live in the Amazon world, right? Like we say it,
There it
we say
is.
we give it to God, and tomorrow it's gonna be fixed,
Yeah.
right? And it wasn't.
Mm.
But God's delay is not his absence.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Okay. Say that one more time. Someone needs this right now.
God's delay is not his absence.
Yes.
He is there, and he was there every moment through Chloe's hard times, even when she said, "I don't want to be alive anymore, mama." But you have to trust and know that God loves our children more than we could ever love them. And he has a plan for them and for you. And sometimes it's about even the mama's transformation in this, right? It's not
Yeah.
just watching Chloe come out to be this beautiful butterfly that she is now, but it's also about the transformation that as mamas we go through
Yes.
and we're working through and who God is designing us to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So talk to me about Jen. Take me back to that moment where the Lord is calling you to release control. And isn't it interesting? Like for me, that feels like its own kind of death, where it's like, oh, no, no, no. If I let go, what could happen? But what changed for you when you were willing to come to that point and you were willing to let go?
Man, that is tough. Okay. And like I said, I am a OCD control freak to the nth degree.
Hey, Mama, let me ask you a question. When's the last time you gave yourself some white space? I am not talking about a trip to the bathroom alone or even the grocery store. When's the last time you had what I like to call some no one needs me time? For homeschooling entrepreneurs, time like this isn't a luxury. It's actually a key component to a healthy business, homeschool, and family life. So, if you're ready for your next respite, whether it's you by yourself, you and your spouse, or a family trip, join us at our peaceful haven, Just Like Paradise, located on gorgeous Oak Island, North Carolina. This 3-bedroom house is just a short walk to the ocean and nearby restaurants. It has a screened-in back porch with fireplace that is to die for, hot tub, and even a fire pit if you're feeling ambitious. Book through the link in the show notes, and then you have a unique discount code, podcast100, to get a $100 discount on your stay as a thank you for being one of my listeners. Get your next getaway on the calendar today. But what changed for you when you were willing to come to that point and you were willing to let go?
Man, that is tough. Okay. And like I said, I am a OCD control freak to the nth degree.
Yes.
I can be in a hospital room running codes and it's all in my control, right? Is the way it feels.
Yes.
But in that moment, it's almost freeing, right?
Yeah.
Because you realize that he is far more powerful and gracious and kind than we could ever be.
Mm-hmm.
And so releasing control doesn't mean that we're not setting boundaries and that we're not praying daily for them and that we're not still being the mom, right? Or we're not just walking away and saying, "Okay, God, fix it. I'm out."
Yeah.
That's not it at all. We're still in the trenches. But now we know that we have someone stronger and bigger than us to
Mm.
walk with us, right? And it's really about getting up every day and putting on that battle armor
Yes.
and letting God say, "I got it. I got
Mm.
it."
Mm-hmm. That's okay, because I've noticed in myself, and I'm sure there's someone else who feels the same that's listening right now. I'm like, well, I like I can still help God. You know, he calls us to surrender. It's like, but well, you don't really want me to just sit back. And we kind of start to negotiate. Why? Like, what are we missing when we aren't willing to just fully lay it down?
You're missing the beauty in it, right? The freedom. And
Mm.
again, I say this that like you're not walking away and washing your hands of it and saying, "Peace out.
Yeah.
Good luck, Chloe."
Yeah.
You're not saying that to your child. You're saying, "I'm still here. I'm standing in your corner. I'm in the
Mm.
trenches with you.
Yeah.
But look over there. We have God in our corner too, and He's there, and He's going to get us through this."
Yeah.
So it's just the feeling of freedom. You
That's
just
it.
come to a place as a mama sometimes that you're just exhausted,
Mhm.
right? You're tired. You don't have the energy anymore to help anybody else because as mamas, that's what we do, right? We help our kids, we help our husbands, we help at work, we help everybody else, but we forget us.
Mhm.
And in that moment of surrender, it's freeing, but God says, "Now, listen to me. Read my word. Pray every day for your child. But you've got to find some time to help rejuvenate your soul."
Mm.
Right? And for me, that was locking myself in my car because it was the only place I could go. Because like kids follow you to the bathroom.
Yes. Oh, what is that? They do. Do the teenagers
Girl,
do that too?
yes, girl.
Oh, man.
Yes, and we live on it's like a small farm, but it's really a petting zoo because Chloe is an animal lover to the nth degree. And so we have 6 dogs and cats and all the things. And so even for me, like I couldn't go to the bathroom because I always have an entourage of dogs with me, right? You know what I mean? Like, so you're
Yes.
like, oh man. So for me, finding a moment was sitting in my car, door locked,
Yes.
with my worship music on because they're like, "Where's mom?" No idea.
Oh, yeah. She's gone. She
She's
just don't
just
worry about it.
so like in that moment, that's how I could refill my cup,
Yes.
right? Just listening to worship music just for 10 minutes a day.
Yes.
And that's what I needed. But I
Mhm.
also know that spa days are helpful, right? And sometimes we can't afford those things, and that's totally
Yeah.
fine. But you can create your own at home. You can have, your own little mini spa day in your bathroom where you take time for just you
Mhm.
and you listen and like I think you when you sit in the quiet sometimes of the stillness of when there's no one talking, there's no one around you, there's no one bothering you,
Yes.
you can hear God's voice a little bit more, still saying, "I'm still here. I'm still here. Just breathe. Just breathe."
And so, Jen, speak to that mother who's saying, "I just don't have time. I can't do that right now." I think sometimes, at least in my life, I needed a little, like it's like I needed to understand why taking care of myself wasn't just an indulgence, but was actually my best path to show up the way I wanted to show up in all the areas. Can you speak to the woman who's feeling a little bit of resistance? There's no time, can't even lock myself in the car. You know, they're like they follow me there too, whatever it is. What if there's some resistance? What would you say to the woman who's feeling a certain sort of something at the idea of self care?
There is always time,
Yes.
right? We choose when we have time or don't have time, right? The 20 minutes that you spent scrolling on Facebook, that's time that you could be pouring into yourself,
Mhm.
right? If it's some people are morning people, right? Early in the morning, you get up 15 minutes before the kids do, and
Mhm.
just take that moment to wash your face,
Mhm.
to go for a very short walk and find the flowers that just bring you joy, right? Like that's the little things.
Yes.
It could be late in the evening after the kids go to bed. Like we choose what captivates our time,
Mhm.
right? And for many of us, it is social media, right? Or even shopping online or whatever.
Yeah.
So without those moments of pouring into yourself, right? You can't be your best for everybody else, like you just said,
Yeah.
right? And then we're short tempered. We're angry, right? We don't offer grace. you can't even make sometimes prudent decisions because you're just physically, emotionally, and mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
That's why it is so important. And I'm all about hair days, spa days, nail days,
Yeah.
right? But I'm also about like overall whole well-being, like holistic healing, right? Taking care of our
Yeah.
bodies, making sure that we're eating good nutritious foods, right? That actually provide something for our body.
Yes.
You know, a little bit of exercise. And I'm not talking about if you don't want to go do, high intensity workouts, by all means, just take a short little walk up and down the driveway. Let the sun feel on your skin, right? And think about what the sun does for us in a general, right? Like it just lifts your moods, right?
Mhm.
There's vitamin D and there's all of those things that are happening. Smelling flowers, just little things. One thing that I've found recently is acupuncture.
Ooh, what do you notice when you do acupuncture?
So, like especially with traditional like Chinese medicine that are doing acupuncture, they they're working on like the nerves and the energy fields that run through our bodies, right? And you can use it for holistic healing. You can use it for migraine headaches. You can use it for lower back pain. But I found this really amazing guy here in Dallas, and he prays with me like he's a strong Christian, so he prays with me before, but he still
What?
practices traditional medicine, right? And
Mm.
it's restful, it's quiet, it's peaceful. And that literally is the moment that I'm just like, okay, you can turn your phone off, you can just sit for those 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just finding something that works for you, right? It doesn't have to be super extravagant or expensive. For some, it's literally just washing your face,
That's so
taking a
true.
shower,
Did I take my makeup off today? I know.
right?
I
Right.
got through half the morning where I was like, "I didn't brush my teeth," and you just feel a certain kind of way when that
Yep.
doesn't happen.
Yep. 100%.
And I've got somebody gave me this. I was just talking to someone this weekend, and he was talking about, that, just the idea of love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself, right? And just that's the command. But the part that we miss is as yourself,
Mhm.
right? And then even the part with God, with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, when we get depleted, there's not as much of us. And so I've got this theory. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Jen, of just, I'm starting to believe that we've got loving God, and then I talk about hierarchy of covenants in here. Our calls to love God, and then our spouse is the next order covenant, which really helps us order our boundaries, right? Like I need to be seeking the Lord first. I need to be making sure my marriage is strong. I have a covenant with my children through baptism, and then there's the others. But where are we in all of that? And I always wondered, well, where is the I in all of that? Does it matter? Does it go with the others? Where does it go? And I started to realize I think it goes alongside of God, that if we're not taking care of our temple that he has given us, we're the temple of the Holy Spirit. Then how can we how then we're dampening our ability to worship and our ability to minister to others. And it sounds like that's kind of what you're saying. Would you modify or add anything to that?
I think you're 100% right. But, God wants us to go out and be a light into the world.
No,
You can't be a light if you're so depleted. I mean, that light's not going to shine.
no.
And there may be somebody in your life, your neighbor or your friend or coworker that needs that light, right? They need to see Jesus's love and grace and mercy, right? And it's not even about speaking it. It's just about seeing it and showing up and being that light. And if you're depleted, you can't be that light. And that
Mm,
is who God is calling you to be for that person,
no.
right? If you don't show up as who God designed you to be, then somebody out there is going to miss out on it, right? Like that's
Yes,
the thing.
yes,
You are literally you may be the only link to that person and to Jesus.
that's right.
And
That's
if you
right.
don't show up because you're so exhausted because you refuse to take 10, 15 minutes a day to yourself, then you're letting someone else down, right?
Mm.
And here's the thing, self-care is not selfish.
Yeah.
It is not. It is 100% a necessity
Yeah.
for us as women and as mamas
Yes.
to be our best for everybody who needs us. Yeah, so self-care is not selfish, right? It is not. It's necessity.
Yes.
You think about all of the things that women are called to do, right? Think about the way that God designed men and women,
Mm.
right? Men are important, but man, the mama's the one that controls everything, right? We run the households, we keep the schedules, we're the taxi drivers, we're all the things.
Yeah.
And all it takes is 10 to 15 minutes a day of you pouring a little into your soul and sitting still and listening for God's voice
Yes.
so that you can help your child who is struggling mentally or physically or emotionally.
Mhm. That's
Because
so good.
you have to be able to advocate for yourself and advocate for your child who cannot speak up for themselves.
Mm. Oh, Jen. Okay. I was like, there was something from early on that I wanted to go back to, and you just got it for me. That was it. Okay. So, first of all, I just want to underline this point because it's so beautiful. 10 to 15 minutes a day for your sweet self. We start to feel so depleted, I think. And I know somebody out here is right in this space. So, I'm just going to talk to you, friend. I know you're feeling so depleted that it feels like 10 to 15 minutes. What's that? What's that even going to do? All it's going to do is show me my cracks. It's going to get me crying. It's going to get me feeling all those emotions that I've just been kind of muscling through or stepping over. That in and of itself is healing. And when your spirit, when your inner self knows, we'll do it again tomorrow, honey. I'll sit with you as long as you need. We'll do it again tomorrow. It's amazing. You think about a child that comes to us crying, and I was on a call a couple of days ago, and really my son had stepped on a piece of glass and he was bleeding, and he's big enough that it wasn't terrible. It was just a little bit. I knew he would be okay for a few minutes and really wasn't in a great place to step away. And so I tried to just kind of say, can you just take care of it? Can you just take care of it? And it was not like the screaming was real. All of it was real. And so finally, I just told the guys on the call, I'm going to need 60 seconds. And you know what? 60 seconds was all it took, right?
Mhm.
A hug, a band aid, a kiss. Come sit by me. I'm right here. I need to finish this call, but I'm here for you. And just that 60 seconds of presence was enough. And an hour of leaving him to his own devices wouldn't have done what that 60 seconds did. That's how it is for us, too. We just need that little bit of time. So I'm calling you, friend, who is not currently giving that to yourself, 15 minutes. Send Jen a message and let her know that you're doing it, okay? We want to hold that space and honor the work because it's so important and it doesn't take much. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. But now I want to talk. You said something so powerful, Jen, when you were talking early on about your daughter and realizing something's wrong and recognizing that you needed to honor your gut, that not all is not well in the world. Talk to us as mamas about that mama instinct. What do we do when we feel it, and what do we do when we feel like it's not being received by the powers that be, maybe?
So we're all designed with intuition and this instinct. And I think for mamas, it's even stronger, right? You know, you can feel like if your child brings somebody home with them and you're like, your mama antennas are going up and you're like, I don't know if that person's really that good for you, right?
Mhm.
It's the same thing, right? And it's just when your child is like, I'm fine, but like deep down inside, you can feel it. And again, I don't think it has to be pushy. They just need to know that you're there, right? And sometimes you do have to escalate it to the next step. Is it finding counselors? Is it finding therapists? Right? But that's a process in of itself. But the first step is listening, right? And God gives us discernment and he gives us the Holy Spirit to kind of lead us and guide us and let us know, right? Just like if you walked into a really sketchy place, right? You're going to be like, "Roar! Antennas up, like I got to go,"
Uh-huh.
right? Because you can feel it. Listen to that. You know, I mean, that's what gives you the mama brain, right? You've just got to step into it and say, "Listen, honey, I know that something's not quite right, and it's okay that you don't want to talk about it right now.
Mhm.
But know that I'm still going to be here and I'm going to ask you about it all the time. And when you're ready, just just tell me." Right? One thing that we did with Chloe that I loved that really was a game changer for her was coming up with a code word.
Mm.
Her code word was mousse cake because she loves Olive Garden's chocolate mousse cake. So for her, if she was having a really bad day, or if she had gone to counseling and it was a very, very tough counseling session, she could say, "Mousse cake." And I could say, "Got it. I
Mm.
love you. I am here, and we're going to get you some chocolate mousse cake."
Ah,
She could say that to her daddy. She could say it to her brothers. And one of those boys would go run into Olive Garden to pick her up some mousse cake because all they needed to know was that she was hurting. She was in a hard place that day. And then she gets her mousse cake.
oh,
Right? Doesn't even have to be mousse cake. That for her was like what was so poignant because it was always what she was like, you know how you just need some chocolate or something that day when you're kind of
yes,
frazzled and you're
yes,
anxious,
yes.
right? Like all those things. For that's her, that was what it was. And she could literally just say that word. And I didn't push. I didn't add any extra pressure. I just said, "Okay, I'm here. I'm gonna hug you." And in those moments, she learned that they learn a little bit more about trust, right? And that when they add a little bit of boundary, it's still a safe place,
Yes.
right? That you're not going to push and tell me what right now. I need to know. I need to know. I need to know. Well, that just pushes them away.
Yeah.
But if they just say, "Moose cake, mama,
Mm.
I got it, baby girl. I got it. You're going to sit right here next to me and I'm going to hug you and you're going to eat your chocolate mousse cake. And then tomorrow, if you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. If
Mhm.
you don't, okay."
Yeah.
Mamas, we have this intuition, okay? And I think we also feel like we want to know everything, right?
Yeah.
Because if we know, then we can fix it,
Oh, yes, that's
right?
it.
But you
Uh-huh.
can't fix it.
Oh,
Sometimes you just can't fix it. And sometimes you just have to know when to just be
yes.
and let them sit with how they're feeling. And when they're ready, they will tell you. I promise you, they will talk to you. But if you push and you push and you push, they're going to say, "You're on my nerves and I don't want to talk to you right now."
Mhm.
Right? You're just making the anxiety worse, the anger worse, right? It's just showing them a little bit of patience and grace, but still saying, "I'm here. I'm always here."
Mm. Ah, I can see I mean, I'm sitting here going, I could totally see that being a gift to any of our children. You know, mama just has a little bag of chocolates, a little stash of chocolates in her bedroom. And any one of the kids, when they're having a hard time and they just need a little bit of that presence that we offer, just say, chocolate. Of course, for me, it's also chocolate.
Mhm.
So your daughter knows what's up with the mousse cake.
Yeah, she does. That's her favorite thing to this day.
I
But you
bet
could
it
I mean, it
all
could
the
be
more.
anything,
Yeah.
right? Like, it could be like cheesecake. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Bubble
know,
bath, walk
I know.
outside. I mean,
Oh,
we mamas
yeah,
need our own list as we know
right.
now.
Yeah,
So,
you're exactly
mhm.
right.
Mhm. That is so beautiful because ultimately I think, each of us has somebody in our lives with varying degrees of need.
Mhm.
And what you're really talking about is how do we show up and serve and love when someone we love is in need. And in your case it was a deep devastating need. But even just those little things, that little tending that we need here and there, for us to remember we can't fix it. Yeah, we have to lay it down because, man, if you hadn't already taken that step of surrender, how are you going to just show up with moose cake? No, I got to know because it's my job to fix it. But we have to first have that reckoning of going, it's not our job.
But like I think about it like, have you ever had the moments like sometimes and you just don't even know what to say to God anymore, like when you're praying?
Yeah.
You're mad, you're sad, you're hurt, all of the things, and you literally just don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
And all you can utter is, "I don't know, God," but
Mhm.
he knows,
Yes.
right? And he doesn't ask us to tell him every little bitty thing all the time. He just
Yeah.
says, "Bring it to me."
Yes.
Right? And that's the same thing that our child is saying. "I'm bringing it to you, but I don't want to talk about it right now."
Yeah.
And you just have to let it be and let it go.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that you don't care. But I think of it as different too, is like when our kids are smaller, right? And they fall down and they hurt their knee, they scrape it, right? What is the one thing that they always say? Mama,
Mhm.
right? You can put a band-aid on it, you can kiss it, you can make it better, right? And that's kind of like what you're doing in this moment, right?
Mm.
You're hugging them, putting a little band-aid on it for the moment with the mousse cake. And then when they're ready, we're going to rip the band-aid off and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to
Yeah.
get you help that you need. I'm going to find the person that can help you get to a better place of healing for you,
Yes.
right? That's exactly what it's like, right? You can't take away the fact that they scraped their knee.
Mhm.
You can't take away the fact that they're going to have a scar on their knee.
Yeah.
It's no different when they're struggling mentally, emotionally, right?
That's so true. Yeah, because we didn't really fix the knee either. We just gave our presents and gave him that little physical
Hurting.
representation. Yeah. Yes, that's exactly right. Oh, that's so good. Yes. Because ultimately we can't. We can't fix it.
Mm-mm.
Mm. Mm. Okay. This has all been so good, Jen. So give me just a final word. What is your final encouragement that, I mean, I'm like, we could go so many other places, but I think this is just such a beautiful place to land. The woman who's just in the middle of the hard right now, trying to be all things to a child or other loved one who's hurting. What is one word of encouragement that you would tell to her?
There is hope.
Yes.
God loves you. Surrender it. Let it go. And then just walk in his promise every day that he says, I got it.
Mm.
Take care of yourself. Advocate for you. Come to a place where you can find joy in the little things, right? When Chloe was in her deepest, darkest moments and we were in what felt like the pits of hell, right? There was joy in the fact that I could hold her hand and tell her that I love her. There was joy in the fact that I could walk out the front door and pick a freaking little wildflower for her and her face would light up.
Mm.
Right? There's joy in everything. And having a heart of gratitude, it changes our perspective, right? So it's surrender, it's finding joy and finding gratitude in all of those little things, even in the hardest moments, there's
Mm.
joy. And on the other side, there's transformation to step full into what God's purpose is for you. There is pain. I mean, there's purpose in the pain. I
Yeah.
promise it's there.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, and I'm sitting here going, yes, yes, we talk about that. Yes, we talk about that. We talk about that. Yes. So, oh, Jen, like I knew from the moment I met you, I was like, we're going to have a great conversation. My people are going to be so blessed by you. I know they have been. So they don't want it to end either. Where can they find you?
Oh man. Well, my book is on Amazon. It's called Warrior Mom Rising. I have a website, warriormomcoach.net. There is free resources on there. They can join my Facebook community where we help women. We pray. We ask them what they need. We talk about joy. Like yesterday, we did a post about tell me one thing you're grateful for this week, right now. because it's those moments that we need to be reminded there is goodness.
Yes.
So Amazon, Facebook is called Warrior Mom Rising group. There's the book and then the website.
Good.
And on the website, there's like links to, you can email me, you can message me. There's all kinds of different methods through that website.
You're amazing. Thank you so much, Jen, for taking this time with us. And thank you so much for just sharing the hard earned wisdom that you've gained through all of this. It's such a gift.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
I know. It's wonderful.
It is.
Okay. To you, friend, 15 minutes. Sow into yourself so you can love those you love most better. And please reach out to Jen if you're navigating a deep hard with your child. Get that support. Find that community. We're here for you. Till next time, always, always, you've got this because he's got you.
Friend, thank you so much for listening to this most recent episode of Overwhelmed to Overcomer. So listen, the whole idea behind this mission is that when we endeavor to be brave with our lives, we need to do it together. Belonging is key. So if you resonated with the message from this episode, share it with a friend. Do it together. Thank you again, and never forget, you've got this because he's got you.